This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Janice Slagle for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast. And today we are wrapping up the month of March, which is Social Work Appreciation Month. And so it's kind of exciting today. We have social workers and a success story from our department. And so we have three folks in here today. So we're going to start with, we have Maria.
Yeah.
Hi Maria, welcome.
Hello.
And Maria, you are a social worker in?
Employment Services, the Welfare to Work program.
Awesome. And then Richard.
Hi.
You are, tell us where you work. Same as Maria.
Employment Services, Welfare to Work, EBP unit.
Okay, great. And then we'll introduce Lupe, who is our success story, really amazing, in just a second. So we'll go ahead and start. So many of you, I know we use a lot of acronyms here at DHS, don't we? Like DHS, CPS, EPP. So we're going to talk today about the program called EPP. Can you tell us what is that?
EBP program is an employment preparation program. It's an opportunity for parents to get placed on site to get hands-on experience.
So when you say parents, the people that are in the, are people already in the Welfare to Work program when they are coming to the EPP program? Is that how that works?
Correct.
Okay, so Welfare to Work, we'll start with that. Who wants to tell us what the Welfare to Work program is?
Well, I will talk about the Welfare to Work program. The Welfare to Work program is tied to the CalWorks program.
Okay.
Anytime a parent participant receives cash aid assistance, CalWorks assistance, they are referred to the Welfare to Work program. Okay. And the state does a calculation on how many hours they are to participate in our program based on what cash assistance, food stamps they receive.
Got it.
So they are assigned a certain amount of hours to do for us.
Okay, and so the goal of Welfare to Work is to help people become self-sufficient. Is that part of the goal?
Correct.
Correct. Okay, and so then the EPP program stands for, again,
Employment Preparation Program.
okay, and so that program helps people that are already in the Welfare to Work become more employable. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so so that's who you're helping then, right? Parents who are in the Welfare to Work program are then referred to the EPP program, and that's who you're basically working with, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of explained this, Maria, but it is sort of a mandated program then, is that right? Is it
Well,
mandated?
at this time, due to COVID-19, the program is voluntary.
Voluntary,
So
okay.
we asked our parents, our participants, to participate in the program. They do not have to,
Okay.
but it's a good activity, good program if you want to, obtain employment.
Okay, and so what are some of the things that you do to help people in the EPP program?
So with EBP, we talk with parents. We find out what they're interested in.
Okay.
And then we base them on site based off of desired position, location, and qualifications.
So let's say you have a mom, like let's say I'm a mom, I'm coming in and you see that I enjoy working with people. So give me an example of maybe like what would you do with me?
Yeah, so I deep a little further as
Okay.
far as working with people, how?
Okay.
As far as there's many ways that will help people.
Right.
The medical field, customer service, retail, warehouse. So those
Okay.
are all helping people.
Right.
So we kind of just break it down, and I would put you more towards sites as far as like nonprofits who are helping
Okay.
the community, KPAC, stuff like that.
So we here at the department have relationships with all these different organizations you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So let's say I said, ooh, I love that. I love the nonprofit, and you sent me to KPAC. What would happen next? Then would I maybe get a job there or something?
Yeah, so
Okay.
through EPP, we place you on site, get hands-on experience, and then you would be assigned a set of hours to where you have to meet for 2 consecutive weeks.
Okay.
Once
and am
you
I paid during this time or not paid?
It starts off as volunteer.
Okay.
Once you meet your assigned hours for 2 consecutive weeks, you get referred to what's called PWEX, which is the paid work experience.
Okay, PWEX is paid work experience. Okay, so after 2 weeks, I kind of show them that I'm really serious here. I want to get this job, and then I do PWEX, and then what happens?
So once you get to PWEX, you're able to increase your hours to 40 hours a week. And so it's treated
okay.
like full-time employment for the duration of 6 months.
Okay.
And depending on funding, it can be extended to a year. But the whole time we're working with parents and encouraging them to, one, network within, look for positions that are permanent, apply for those positions, and not only apply within the site they're placed, but start applying elsewhere, to
Very
get that
cool.
permanent status to be self-sufficient.
So they're getting this hands-on experience. You're helping them get in the door. They're in the door, and hopefully they're showing that employer that I could do this, right?
Absolutely.
And then, are you like staying connected with them when they're working at Cap K or?
So while
wherever?
they're in EPP, we work with them. We monitor them, make sure the timesheets, make sure they can meet their hours. We address any barriers. We coordinate with the assigned social worker to make sure they become self-sufficient.
Okay.
Once they get to PWEX, it's treated like employment, so we would refer them back to the assigned social worker, and they just monitor it like employment.
Okay, that's very cool. And so, what are some of the barriers people may have? Like you said, you help them with barriers, like transportation or what to wear, stuff like that.
Yeah, proper dress code. Simple things as far as time and attendance. A lot of people think it's not as important to show up on time, but it is.
Yeah.
It's very
like
important.
training ground for actually.
Correct. Childcare, resolving little things like
Childcare.
that.
So if I had children and I got that job and I need childcare, do you like find? Do you go through the 4Cs, or what do you do to help them with childcare, for instance?
So we would work with the assigned social worker and inform them, hey, the client's having these certain barriers. Can you please work with them as far as setting a referral to community connections?
Okay.
Hey, have you talked to them about transportation, supportive
That's
services?
awesome.
If they need certain sites require certain dress code, say, hey, parent, it's placed there. However, they need business casual.
Right.
Can you assist them with vouchers and anything you can do to assist them?
So the vouchers like for Dress for Success or something like that.
Goodwill.
Goodwill.
Oh, I love that. So we do a lot of stuff to get people ready for this job, and
There are great supportive services within our department. If you show the interest and you show that you want to succeed, we are willing to do whatever we need to do to get you back on your feet. If there's something that is specialized that maybe we wouldn't otherwise approve, we can go to a supervisor, the assigned social worker can go to their supervisor and get those items approved. If it's extra money, there are ways.
that's
There are ways.
great. So we really are helping people become self-sufficient, right?
Yes.
Did you notice during COVID, like we're sort of coming out of COVID right now, but did you notice were there more people in this program or less people during COVID, or do you know?
Unfortunately, at the beginning of COVID, just like everybody,
Yeah.
people were scared. They were
Yeah,
terrified.
right.
Especially because we didn't know a lot about COVID. People were very wary on to leave their home, expose their children, and remember
Right.
that the children were at home during
Yeah.
that time. So there were additional barriers for them. So even if we wanted them to participate or they wanted to participate, some of these parents didn't have that
Yeah.
option because they had to be at home
Yeah, that makes
monitoring their
sense.
children.
Right. Do you guys know how many people, like, I don't know, like on a regular basis are in the EPP program? Is it a large number, or I don't know if that's a question you're able to answer?
It varies.
It
It
varies.
varies because during the holidays, I noticed that we were receiving more referrals.
Okay.
And I think that, like everybody, like every family, you want to have a good Christmas. You want to go to
Absolutely.
holiday and you're
Sure.
thinking, I need extra income. And with our welfare to work program, we have lots of incentives right now. So there are a lot of incentives that are financial help. And if you do certain things for us, there are incentives that were paid to you. So more people were reaching out at that time because of the holidays.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, that's awesome. And I know that you brought someone with you today, Richard, who you had helped initially, right? Did you help Lupe, who we have here today? Were you her social worker, Maria?
No.
No, Lupe came to us as our clerical staff to the EPP program.
Okay.
But we just come to find out she's one of our success stories. So Lupe can talk about
Awesome.
this.
We're so excited, Lupe, to hear a little bit about your journey. So you came to DHS through the EPP program?
I did. I was exempt from the program
Okay.
because my daughter at the time was 1, and I was still looking for work myself because I was receiving at that time $670 and $550 of that went towards my rent, so I was left with $120 with 2 kids, and I wasn't gonna
It's
get
not
far.
very much, is it?
I wasn't gonna get far, with
Yeah.
diapers, wipes, and the necessities of the kids.
Sure.
I then contacted my worker and let her know that I was still out there looking for work myself, but felt that maybe I was doing something wrong because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. So I did the EPP E-Zone program and started the PWEX, and I did my 6 months of paid work experience for current behavioral mental health at the courthouse at the gatekeeper.
So before you go on, what is E-Zone?
It's where we do job search, either online, and we would come in for classes.
Did they teach you, what else? Did they teach you sort of job skills and things like that?
Yes,
Okay.
like resumes, and we would do these like mock interviews and how to dress appropriately for interviews and things like that.
Did you find that was helpful? Was it stuff you didn't know?
It was helpful.
I bet.
Because after, not being in the work field.
Right.
So yeah,
That's good.
It was helpful.
So the E-Zone was part of the EPP thing too then. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then, okay, I sorry to interrupt you. Then you went on to, you said volunteering or whatever it's called at the beginning at Kern Behavioral Health, right?
Yes.
And what were you doing there?
It was for the gatekeeper inside of the courthouse.
Oh, yeah.
Where they would send over referrals for participants that wanted to do or that needed to do substance abuse, like outpatient treatment.
Right. Was that at juvenile court?
This was at the courthouse.
At the downtown courthouse?
Yes, at the Superior
Okay.
Courthouse.
That must have been interesting, huh?
Yes.
I bet.
Yes, and I was at the front office,
Okay.
receiving the referrals and stuff like that. And from there, I did my 6 months, and I was then hired on for one of the substance abuse outpatient facilities.
Oh, doing the same kind of work,
Yes,
clerical work? Okay.
doing the same clerical work.
Nice.
Worked there for 3 years, and then made it my goal of coming on to DHS.
Okay.
Because I remember coming into the lobby and saying, one day I'm going to walk through that door.
Really?
And I came on as permanent for OSA in the lobby.
And OSA is Office
Services Assistant.
Okay.
For the lobby, where I helped clients with the kiosk machines or at the window. Then I was promoted to OST, which is the Office Services Technician. And I'm here.
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. And my next goal is to become OSS.
Good for you. And so can I ask you, Lupe, what made you want to work here? Because you already had a job with through Kern Behavioral Health. And what made you want to come here?
I don't know. It was DHS. Before working there, when I did the EPP and everything, I, would come into the lobby and do use jobs first room. And, I would always see that door, and I would say, well, I'm going to one day
help people just like you were helped, kind
Yes,
of, huh?
yes.
That's so cool. So this is like how many years later? 4 years later from when you first came here? Okay. And how long have you been here with DHS now?
It'll be 3 years, 4
Okay.
years.
Wow, that's
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
Well, I bet you're one of the best helpers down there because of having been through what you've been through, received the help and the
Yes.
training. You can really understand what people are going
Yeah,
through.
I could relate,
Yeah.
because, at one point I was in, I was in the lobby receiving my bus pass,
Yeah.
or my voucher for Goodwill.
Right.
For,
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
so-
that's such an important thing is that you went through that and now you really understand it. Because people who come to us for help, they don't necessarily want to come to us for help, do they? They need it, but it's sometimes there's a stigma attached or they just feel funny about it. So having someone like you who, like you can look at them and say, listen, I've been there.
yes.
They are going to trust you
know,
more too.
yeah.
So I'm glad that you came back here.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm your co-host Allison, and I'm interrupting today's podcast to highlight a special opportunity on behalf of our Job Fest team. Job Fest Ridgecrest is happening on April 6th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Kerr-McGee Community Center. For more information, head to jobfestkern.com. If you'd like to join our team here at DHS, head to kerncounty.com under the Careers tab. Thank you for listening, and now back to the podcast.
And I think, Maria, did you have also a story of someone that was helped by the services here?
Yes, I had a participant that when she was assigned to me as for EPP program, she had her challenges.
Yeah.
Like Richard was saying, we do an intake interview, we do an assessment, we ask what skills do you come with, and a lot of our parents don't have the work experience. But I have come to realize that with this participant, she was a stay-home mom. And so you have to be creative on how you pull their skills, because they don't necessarily know their skills, because they think, I haven't worked and I haven't worked in years, I don't have skills.
That's such a good point.
So you need to be able to engage them and pull those things from them and be like, okay, what did you do at home? Tell me about your day. And so you pull those skills. And one of the things with this participant, she was really get-go. Like from the get-go, she was like, I want to do this. I want to find a job. I need to do something for my family. So that really helped. And we placed her at a site. She didn't have her high school diploma. She was discouraged at the beginning because the site didn't require a high school diploma, but was bringing it up and brought it up to my attention twice already. And so I talked to her, hey, they're really pushing you to get to her high school diploma. Where are you at with that? And she was like, then I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. And I was like, no, they're not saying they won't take you. They're asking you. And so in speaking with her, I encouraged her to, hey, look into how much you need for your high school diploma. They're willing to work with you, but you have to say, yes, I want to do this. That they are looking long-term. They're not looking just for placement right now. They are looking to see if you work out with them and they like you, they can hire you. But they want to make sure that you have these things. So I encouraged her to get her high school diploma, and she talked to the site, and the site was willing to work with her, and she was placed there. And then after the 2 weeks, she was referred to the PWEX program, the Paid Work Experience, and she started, working there. And she's really gun-ho. Right now during COVID, we don't meet a lot of our people. We talk to them over the phone, and I actually got a chance to meet her, and she's doing great. She loves it there.
That.
They're willing to work with her, and they're working with her to get her high school diploma so they can hire her as outside of us, because the Paid Work Experience is county funded. It's not, the employer doesn't pay it. We work with a lot of nonprofits, like Richard said, that these nonprofits don't have the money to hire,
Yeah.
So they are very particular if they're going to hire you on their own.
Right.
So one of the things that, that site encouraged her was to get her high school diploma so that they could hire her.
Yeah.
So she's doing great.
That is so cool. And I think if I was an employer listening to this, I'd want to connect with us on this program too. How do employers get involved so that they can have staff work there?
Employers can call. We have a
Okay.
job developer who handles the contracts.
Okay.
There are contracts involved. There are certain stipulations that come to play, but they contact our department and ask to speak to the job developer who does the contracts for
I
the
love
program.
that. So I think that would be a great program for any employer who's wanting to, find some good employees. There's a program involved, so there's supervision, there's oversight. The staff that you send has to report to the social worker. That sounds like a great program.
Yes.
And I love that this young woman is able to further her own education, and I'm sure that's an example to her family also, that she's following up with that. And so what a great program this is. It must be fun for you guys doing it. It sounds like it would be just satisfying to see people come further than they came to you, right?
Yes. Obviously, we always want to help people. Our job is to help make a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah.
And my mentality is, like, if I can only help you a little bit and get you on the right track, because one of the downfalls or negatives of this job is that we don't always see the success stories. And I always say, but if I can help you a little bit, that goes a long way.
Yeah,
Because,
I love that.
I know that coming to our department is very intimidating, very overwhelming for people, and I think that why am I going to be a barrier for them? They already have so many barriers in their life. And unfortunately, our participants are at a disadvantage. They don't have somebody to teach them life skills. They don't have somebody who guides them that this is the way you need to do it. So sometimes you telling them, like Richard says, giving them those little, hey, be courteous, be respectful. You dress a certain way. You have to do these certain things which we take for granted.
Yeah.
And that somebody along the way has taught us and taken the time to taught us. Why don't we teach them this? Why don't we help them out just that little bit? Because it can make a difference in somebody's life. This woman that was my success story, she was down and out, and she was like, no, I'm not doing it. She became really negative, and I was like, take a deep breath. Let's talk about it. Why don't you want to do it? It's just that engagement. And through my years being here in DHS, the 22 years, I was an HST when I started. I was a CPS social worker. You know, working CPS is not easy. It's very challenging, but I have learned through the years on engagement, interview skills, knowing how to gauge people where they are, and knowing how to meet them, and interacting with them in a way that, okay, I might talk to one client this way and I might talk to another client this way, depending on where you are in life and how receptive you are. I'm going to try to help you the best that I can. The best that I can, so you can be successful, so you can be self-sufficient. I don't want to be a barrier to you. I just want to be a positive person in your life that helps you along the way. Whether, you know, you succeed in stuff and what you were doing at that point doesn't matter to me. I'm going to help you in whatever way I can. It might not make a big difference, and it might make a big difference.
I love that,
And that's
Maria.
good. Yeah.
So it sounds like your heart is really in it, and you really do want to see people succeed, and they probably feel that when they meet you guys, you know, that you're really there just to help them, even though they don't. Some of it's mandatory, and yes, but it's really helping them in the long run, even though it's something they're
I
being
always
asked
tell
to do.
people, if you want help, help is there.
Yes, that's so
If you're
true.
receptive and you're willing to be open with it, this program is great.
Yeah, I love this program, and I think it's so nice that on this podcast we can talk about other kinds of social work. So our department has over 400 social workers, but I love the employment services component. I think that you guys do so much to get people to the next level and to maybe not even need our financial help anymore, and that's the goal, because people don't necessarily want to be receiving our help, do they? They want to be self-sufficient, and I love what you guys do. You're doing a great job.
And I think that one of the things that keeps me focused is, like, I'm nobody to judge anybody.
Yeah.
We all fall on hard times. We all fall on
Absolutely.
hard times. And am I going to be just whoever to you? I am nobody to judge you. My job is to help you.
Yeah.
To help you through this difficult time and encourage you more than anything. Because unfortunately, our participants are at a disadvantage. They don't have positive people in their families at times, you know. They don't have this encouragement, you know. They usually have people like saying, oh, whatever, you can't do it, whatever, whatever. Look at, you have 5 kids, you know, how are you ever going to get ahead with 5 kids, or how many you have? And I think that just being that little bit of difference and taking a different attitude goes a long way for families.
Absolutely. So if someone's out there listening today and they don't really like the idea of needing help or even wanting to get financial help, but when you come to us or the Department of Human Services for help, there's so many things we can do to assist you with job development and training and even childcare for jobs. So I hope people that are listening today really check it out. And if you're interested, you can go to our website, kcdhs.org, and you can search for the Welfare to Work program, and you'll find all kinds of information on there. So is there anything else that I didn't mention in our just asking you guys questions that you want to share? Did we cover everything?
Yeah, we
Okay.
covered everything.
I thank you so much for being our guest today. And Lupe, thank you for sharing your story. I wish you the most success. I hope you keep improving and keep climbing the ladder to success.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Welcome to today's Mindful Minute. I'm your co-host Paola Hernandez, and today we'll be talking about fidget toys. This industry, although sounds silly, is huge right now. People are starting to find the amazing benefits of stress relief toys. That includes fidget spinners, Play-Doh, stress balls, Pop-Its, and more. These toys originally targeted people with sensory issues, often kids who get overwhelmed by things like light and noise. But over time, the use of these sensory toys have expanded into everyday use for those of us who are stressed out. So when you're feeling a little anxious or stressed, just pull out a fidget spinner to help ease that stress. So try it out and make that purchase. This has been your Mindful Minute.
Thank you for joining us for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast today. We hope you'll join us next time.